Hello, everyone. I'm Jean-Claude BeyondMystic, and welcome to this very special report. Tonight, the Silver October remote viewing and Astro Woo. You can find my distinguished guest this evening, Mr. Dick Algayer, at Crypto Viewing here on YouTube, and also on his Patreon at patreon.com/crypto viewing. Dick, welcome back to the show. How are you?
Always good to talk with you, Jean-Claude. I always have fun.
Well, I'm excited for tonight's show. And folks, also please join me in welcoming the wonderful Julie. You can find her at maisonjupiter.com here on the web and also on YouTube at Maison Jupiter. Julie, welcome back to the show. How are you?
Hey guys, I'm doing good. Hi Dick, very nice to meet you. I'm excited for the show tonight. I think it's going to be a good one.
It's going to be a good one indeed. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us here tonight on this live interactive show. I'll bring up your comments as we go along, and if we have time, we'll try to get some questions and answers to you at the end of the show. Tonight, as forecasted, we are looking at this incredible latest set of remote viewings from Dick Algayer and company here at Crypto Viewing, and we wanted to share with you, the audience, not just this remote viewing, but also the astrological alignments for this month and how all that seems to be spelling, I guess change would be the operative word. Now, before we get into all of that, folks, of course, tonight Dick is here and we wanted to give him a little bit of a surprise. And Julie has prepared for Mr. Algayer here his soul essence and his life mission cards as per tarot numerology. So let me bring that up. We'll do that quick segment to let you guys know what makes Dick Algayer tick. Julie, let's set the stage here for the audience members. What are we looking at?
Okay, so with Dick's approval, of course, we used his birth date to come up with two cards that are two archetypes. One being his soul essence archetype, which is the lovers in the tarot. So we're gonna talk about that just in a few seconds. And the other card, the other archetype that we'll talk about is his life mission. So in this incarnation, what he's here to accomplish, and we have the strength card. So the soul essence would be more what he has already mastered in other lifetimes. So what his soul is very comfortable with as an archetype, as gifts that he already mastered. And the life mission would be something that he's more trying to learn and also assimilate in that lifetime. And also it is very, it tells us about what he's here to do as a life mission, of course.
Okay. And so, guys, if you're interested in finding out and knowing how to do this tarot numerology for yourself, for your loved ones, and perhaps to figure out why your boss does the things he does at work, please do go and check it out here. You can find that at BeyondMystic.academy. And there, of course, you'll see the tarot numerology workshop is what you're looking for. Julie, okay, let's get into the first card. Which one do you want to do first? The soul
essence. So let's start with, yeah.
Hold on, let me go back to my slide deck. I just lost a placeholder.
So it's interesting because, Dick, you have the lovers as your archetype for your soul essence, and you have the same one as JC. So you guys are very similar in that fashion. Yes, thank you. So we'll read the first part as it pertains to the soul essence. So the lovers is all about the divine masculine and the divine feminine polarity. So holding both of the polarities together, harmonizing them. They are about harmony, finding a balance also. So it's something that Dick's really good at, trying to find balance. Also, relationships is associated with the lovers. So really good at diplomacy, making contacts, creating relationships, but also harmonizing both of his polarities within himself. So on the slide, I wrote, people that have this soul essence hold the keys to balance feminine and masculine energy. And you'll find that both cards kind of have to do with mastering energy in some type of way. So that's very interesting. Also, second point, very attractive and special energy. So people are very attracted to this energy of the lovers. JC, you're smiling.
Well, people do remember Dick Algayer looking like Tom Selleck, and he was a very attractive man. And so there was a lot of attractive.
You both are very attractive men, that's for sure. Okay. So that's the lovers card. And thirdly, we have a creative soul. So because you have the power of the triune, which is both the feminine, the masculine on the card, but it doesn't end there. We also have another entity, which is like the divine in the card. So it's really the power of the triune that help people with that card archetype create stuff. So it's really a creation energy. So it's very powerful. Also, we have the healing and the merging of polarities, yes, to achieve unity consciousness. So it's really, I feel like it's really getting this energy from source and trying to use it in a very creative way on Earth. Wow. So that's the first card.
I was surprised too, because when she pulled this, I'm like, oh, wow, Dick and I have a lot more in common than I thought we did. Okay. And let's get into the second one. Julie, which one am I looking for here? Oh, the strength card. Oh, yes. Okay. There you go.
So that's Dick's life mission. So the strength card, so it's funny because the Lover's card is all about harmonizing left brain and right brain as like two mirror polarities. And the strength card is all about the lower chakras and the higher chakras. So it's more like a vertical type of harmonizing. So on the card, the lady's trying to master the more animalistic side of the human. So it talks about the lower chakras, but she's also trying to recycle with the little 8 on her head, this energy in order to harmonize, but also channel the divine. So it's funny because of course Dick's using this in a very interesting way, doing a remote viewing. So let's read. It says harnessing Kundalini power, which is all about the power of the chakras. So recycling this energy in a creative way also. Teaching others how to use this energy. So it also has to do with being an energy worker in some type of way. But there's many ways to be an energy worker for sure. So anchoring more evolved sexual energy keys because it's the primal life force. So the strength card talks about that. Holding more and more energy and higher frequencies, and also ground those higher frequencies on the earth grid and also charge the earth grid. So Dick is here to bring a very special energy, and also I feel teach us how to work with this energy in order to be very grounded, but also in contact with higher frequencies and the divine.
Wow. Dick, first thoughts and reactions?
Well, yeah, I'm a very creative person. I'm very right-brained. I can't take something apart and take the batteries out and then put it back together again. Like mechanically, analytically, I'm not good, but I can conceptualize things. I'm very creative. So yeah, I'm independent, and I do use higher energy frequencies. In remote viewing, my body in essence becomes an antenna. So that's how that works. So I would say that's true. And just in terms of overall numerology and tarot, I'm not real familiar with it, but my remote viewing teacher was a practitioner of tarot, taught his daughter from a young age how to read tarot cards, and puts a lot behind that. And numerology, I never really considered and never would have, quote, believed in that. But because of my remote viewing, have been mentored by someone who knows.
Hold on, Dick, hold on just a second here. We're losing you horribly. So I'm not sure if it's the connection with the mic in your headphone or something else, but we could barely make out what you're saying there. And
wow.
We want everybody to hear you. So maybe unplug the headphones and let's go back to the other microphone and see if we can make that work. Sorry, guys. We were having some weird static issues here before we started. Let's see.
Yeah, I think it's going to be better.
Whoa, that's worse. That's worse. That's worse.
Actually,
can you hear me now? Are we okay?
Yeah, now we can hear you fine.
Okay. I was saying that my remote viewing teacher was heavy into tarot. And as for numerology, I never really gave much credence to it. But because of my remote viewing, I've been learning things about how the elite do things. And they are totally into numerology. Completely. They and astrological signs too. We've had a lot of astrological conjunctions and formations this past year that have been really heavy on everyone's energy. And I guess you two could probably talk about that more than I, but it's been a real ride astrologically.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Dick, your mic is starting to act up again here. Not sure what we can do.
Well, let me see. I've got a brand new mic. I just did 2 hours on my own channel. That was not a problem. So
where is that coming from right now? He doesn't have it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Did you unconnect your headphones there?
Yeah, headphones are off. The headphones don't have a mic in them.
So where's that coming from?
I could try one. What is it? A hum?
No, it's like huge static noise when you're talking. And Julie's muted, so it's not coming from Julie right now. We're getting huge static. Yeah, whatever you're touching now is staticky.
I've got a good, a nice microphone. I mean, it's never been a problem. It's actually pretty neat. Is that still giving you a problem?
Oh yeah, very staticky.
Wow. Let me unplug it.
Okay, hold on, folks. We're gonna try to see if we can salvage the situation here while Dick plugs and unplugs his microphone. Right now, Dick, you're still on mute, even though you've replugged. You might have to unmute yourself on your end there.
It might also be the settings. Maybe his mic is not connected in StreamYard.
Oh, that could be too. Right now, Dick, it says that you've muted yourself on your side. I cannot unmute you from here. You're still muted from your end, Dick. If you look just below here, there's a settings button just below your video. Click on that and go to the audio section and go for the mic and check out which mic you're using. There seems to be an issue there. I can't hear you, Dick. Yeah, Dick, we can't hear you, man. What else can we do?
Yeah. Do you want him to leave and come back, maybe?
Maybe you could try that, Dick, if you can hear me. Leave the studio here with the red button and try to come back in, and hopefully that might reset your mic.
Okay, weird night.
We're still in the Mercury retrograde energy, Julie.
Yeah, post shadow. Sandy said he's just so full of energy.
Yeah, his mic is acting up with all the energy and the Kundalini energy around Dick Algeier. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
All right, hopefully we can get him back on and it all works. Let's see here.
Okay. I saw the mute button. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I saw the mute button in I was clicking on it and it just wasn't affecting it. So. Okay. Have we resolved the issue?
Yeah, it looks like it. Yes. Julie
okay. So I was.
Julie and I will mute ourselves when you go, Dick, just to make sure we don't get into echo. But yes, please keep going on the astrological alignments.
Yeah, I was talking about the astrological Jupiter. The planets are conjoining in the sky. There's all kinds of pressure astrologically over the past year.
Yes, for sure. And also we've got Saturn Uranus that's been ongoing for all of 2021, and we're having the last one right now. So that's a big astrological alignment of all the tension between the old world, the new world, the powers trying to constrain the energies, but also us trying to move on and change things. That's Uranus. So there's a lot of energies that I feel that are at odds right now, but also all the year of 2021. I agree with you.
Dick, let's we still have a little bit of an echo with you, Dick, and some static. We'll try to get through it. If not, we're gonna have to try to either reschedule or find something else here, because I really want people to be able to hear this remote viewing of yours. So let's see here if he's let's hold on a second, guys. We'll see if we can get him back. So Dick, give me a mic check.
1, 2, 3, 4. Mic check. Hello.
Right now, you sound really fantastic. Okay.
Okay, we'll use a headset.
Let's take advantage of this
move.
quick opening here in the energy field. Let's get into this first slide here for your latest remote viewing. Set this up for the audience. What was the target here, and where is this leading us here for this crazy month of October and perhaps also into November, Dick?
The target was E3 G9-A8V4. That's what I was given. Somebody emails me. I don't know who it's for. I don't know anything about it. And so I use my technique to say, well, where am I when I go to E3 G9-A8V4? First thing I saw was in this long hallway, like an imposing building with an institutional feel. And it turns out we think it was probably the Federal Reserve building. Someone who's been there said that's just what it looks like. So that was just my, like, land on the scene. Now the target, I didn't know this when I was working it. It wasn't revealed until all the data came in, was...
Hold on, Dick. Dude, we've lost you again. It's horrible. Yeah. You know, people are saying his gain is too high. No, it's not the gain. There's something weird probably in the connection in the mic, or it could be in the internet connection also not helping. There's something weird happening here, Dick. Man. I have tried to troubleshoot it, maybe, Dick, and if not, we're going to have to reschedule because I really want, this is a very important show. We have a lot of information to share with the audience. I want them to hear you properly.
Let me pop out one more time. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right, guys. Bear with us here. We'll try to make this work. Oh, my God. And again, it's
wait. Let me.
When I lost you, Dick.
When I mute, the sound improve.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Okay. Wait, I'm gonna mute right now. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, so there's no static when you're on mute, Dick.
Okay, when I'm
oh yeah, horrible. Yeah.
You could try a different.
And you know what? You seem to be lagging also, Dick. It's not just the microphone. Okay, Dick, I think you're back.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, right now you're super clear. Don't touch anything.
Okay, well, I had echo cancellation. You know, they get too fancy with all the little sub-menus of settings here. Anyway, is it working?
Yes.
Right
now it's working. Fingers crossed, guys.
Okay, so I'm given this target.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. I'm just given the target designator. It turns out it was silver. They wanted to know what's going to happen with the silver market. And I worked this 2 months ago, probably in August, I think. So if you want to show some more of the data, we can go over that.
Okay, let's try the second one here. There's a little bit of static in the back, but not too much right now. Let's try to keep going. And folks, if it gets worse again, we're just going to need to reschedule. Again, it's a really important show. We have a huge lineup of slides here to share with you guys. So we're going to have to reschedule if we can get us to work tonight. So Dick, keep going a little bit here. And if I cut you off again, we're going to have to try to reschedule. Okay.
So now I'm in this big room with people meeting. It looked like a cabinet room, big drapes. Big table, water on the table, and I got the idea of, like, it's a cabinet meeting. It's the open market. It was financial stuff. Like, something's happened and they're having a big meeting on how to react to it.
Dick, I'm gonna have to call it.
Wow.
The static is just too bad, and it's gonna be, people won't be able to listen to this at all. It's just horrible on the other end.
Well, I can
the microphone or the headphones is going to be.
I can try a different microphone.
Okay, let's try that. Let's try that.
Man,
I'm going to bring you off the screen while you do that, so it doesn't create extra loud noises for people who are listening with their headphones. But keep going. I'm watching you in the live stream here. Okay, go ahead, Dick.
Okay.
All right, so remove. There you go. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. We're going to try to make this work here. I can still see Dick is in the green room here. He's going to try to change microphones on us. Yes, they're saying try new mics. Yes. Okay, don't give up. Like I know.
We're not giving up.
Try not to give up. I know. Everybody wants to hear this remote viewing. It's absolutely amazing. Julie and I almost fell off our chairs when we got the first email from Dick with all of these slides. We were like, whoa. suddenly a lot of what we were seeing for the Astro Woo Finance and the Crypto Woo show we just recorded last week made a lot of sense. Julie, what were your first thoughts when you saw some of these slides here that we're about to show, if we can, here tonight?
Well, it's kind of validating the Astro data that I've been looking at, especially with silver. And also, I'm thinking it could be around the eclipses. So we're going to talk about that later on. But Dick had a lot of silver visual in his drawings. And that was very interesting because a little bit of gold, but mostly silver. And that's what we've been getting to. So I was very intrigued in putting all the data together and talking about him tonight.
Okay, we're going to try to get Dick back on here in a sec, guys. What Julie's referring to, of course, is the latest Astro Woo Finance show we just recorded. This is the zodiac sign for each of your signs, the ascending and your sun sign, and how these energies are going to be affecting you for the month of October, specifically your finances. And of course, also this Beyond Crypto Woo we recorded. Here we track some of your favorite cryptos, gold and silver also, and the financial system for the month of October. Crazy month. If you haven't seen these episodes, really do go check them out. There's a lot for you there. Okay, so let's try to see if we can get Mr. Algayer back on the screen. Dick.
Okay, I'm using the built-in microphone on my Macintosh computer. Is that any better?
So far,
right now it's fabulous. Okay.
Okay.
I'm excited. Okay, so let me recap the long corridor, and then you think this might be
in the open market committee meeting or the Federal Reserve meeting, I think.
Okay. And Julie, you had a red note on this one here. Do you want to just add to this here before we get to the next slide, or do you want Dick to lay down a little bit more track before we get into the astrology? What do you want to do?
Yeah, go ahead, Dick. I'm just gonna comment later.
My time frame for when I thought this would be happening would be early fall. So,
okay.
But you have December 28th. But time is difficult in remote viewing.
Yeah. Well, of course, it could be the case. I was just thinking about USA having their Pluto return as we speak. And I wrote down the exact dates for the Pluto return. So the first hit was on April. Is that what I wrote on the slide, JC?
Let me
I think it was April, and then February. Sorry, February was the first exact Pluto return, but it's such an important alignment for the US that it's felt about a year before. And then the second hit was when Pluto was retrograde on July 11th. And the final and third one, once Pluto's direct on the 8th, is going to be on December 28th. So, but it's just an orb of influence because the Pluto return for the US talks about a whole reset of the financial system. So maybe the currency, because it's in their second house, which talk about currencies. So it's a big topic. So I kind of had this download while I was looking at your drawing there. So, but even in astrology, the timing is very wide because Pluto is such a slow-moving planet.
Yeah. Well, this is likely to be an event or events that will play out over a pretty long, it's not going to be a couple days.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and of course, the orb of influence of these astrological events are not on the exact day. That's the peak influence, but they can be felt way before and way after. Okay, let's get back to the next slide here for Dick. We're doing well. Okay, so this one here, Dick, what do we have on the screen here?
This is Daz Smith's work, and again, he was blind to the target, but he picked up on silver coins. He said, what looks like cash machine with long queue of people snaking down the street. So a Great Depression feel, like people trying to withdraw their money from the bank and then using silver coins.
That's interesting because on the solar eclipse here on October 25th, there's the conjunction between Mars and the silver asteroid. Julie, set the stage for that and why that could sing one type of announcement here for the month.
Well, first of all, first thing I thought about when I read that is that on this eclipse, well, the sun is going to be eclipsed, but also the planet Venus is going to be eclipsed, and Venus represents currencies. And the eclipses of October 25th and November 8th are both going to be in the financial axis for the whole world. So there's going to be big changes with finances. But this specific eclipse eclipses the planet of currencies. So I wrote, I think it's the fourth line, the fourth point. I wrote banks are bankrupt, or no more money, or no more cash. So I was like, it might be something like that. There's no more physical money, or less, or it's harder to get money from the bank. And then also I looked at an asteroid that is called Silver. And at the moment of this eclipse, it's going to conjunct exactly the planet Mars, which is the ruler of this eclipse. So it's very important at this point in Gemini. So for me, it talks about an announcement on the value of silver. Mars represents power in astrology. So maybe more power to silver for barter, trading. Or also Gemini talks about a communication. So it could be a new innovation using silver in a new technology, or a communication technology. So
I just did a live stream at our site. I'll plug it, patreon.com/scriptviewing. And we were noting that at the time of the 1929 stock collapse, there was a big crash in 1987. In 2008, there was a full moon and an eclipse, and that the astrological lineups are coming up to that same time as when we had previous crashes.
Yes, correct. Yeah. Well, oh, you want me to talk about the full moon? Well, there's two things I think there. So first of all, I think Janine sent us a podcast of two experts of the Great Depressions in the world. Yes, thank you. Aaron Brickman. And he did say that they were always corresponding to solar eclipses, and the panic on the market would start with a full moon within 6 weeks of the solar eclipse. So we're having a full moon that's 6 weeks within the solar eclipse this Sunday, October 9th. So this is going to be the full moon. So it might be the trigger point of panic. And as per you were talking about 1929, we had an eclipse around the Great Depression, where at the exact point where the market crashed. And the eclipse were exactly in the same axis as we're having them right now in Taurus and Scorpio. The only difference is that the north node was in the sign of Scorpio, and the south node was in the sign of Taurus, which is the opposite of what we're having right now. So Taurus represents currencies and Scorpio represents central banks. So right now, the south node, what we're letting go, is in the sign of Scorpio, so central banking and anything that's hidden with money. So we're letting go of everything that's been corrupt with our banking system, the financial system, and we're moving toward more sound money, which is Taurus, more physical assets. And back then in 1929, it was very similar alignments, but it was the opposite of what collectively we were going forward with.
Wow, fascinating. Okay, Dick, let's get into the next slide. What are we looking at here?
Okay, again, I'm blind to the target and just getting impressions. I close my eyes and I see silver. I see silver, like coins and ingots. And I saw gold too, but I saw silver eclipsing gold. I said, this is very complicated. It's interconnected. There's a lot of behind the scenes maneuvering, just ask Bix about that. Agreements, threats, manipulation, a change is coming. So given a blind target, and I started focusing in on silver. So we were on target on this one.
Okay, very good. Julie, you kind of mentioned this also here. Silver was eclipsing gold. Do you want to add more to that, or do you want to continue the pleasure?
And I forgot when we were talking about all the depressions that we had, including 1929. I looked at it, and it always is a hard alignment between Saturn and Uranus. So every time we had a depression, it's either usually a square or an opposition between those two planets, and they have a 45-year cycles, those two planets. So in 1929, there was also a square between Saturn and Uranus, and we're also having a square right now as we speak. So that's kind of a clash between trying to centralize all the financial system, but also Uranus wants to decentralize it. So I think it has to do a lot with the value of gold and silver that you're talking about, Dick, in your remote view, because I think as we're trying to gain our power back with the financial system, gold and silver are going to increase in value a lot as we're letting go from the central banking, which is Scorpio. So
and Dick, you were mentioning this at the beginning of the show here, these alignments. I think you were referring to this Saturn-Uranus square. These, as Jay Weiner was saying on the show last week, this is the last fight between the Pisceans and the Aquarians, or here in this case, the centralization forces of the CBDC versus the decentralizing aspects here of humanity. So we're in the thick of things now with this particular alignment. Okay.
And if I can just add to that, I did research a little bit about the depressions recently. So Black Monday on 1987 was the beginning of the cycle between Saturn and Uranus. So they were at the exact same place, the conjunction, so 1987. So that was the start of globalism because the cycle started. And then the first square, when they're at 90 degrees, is the first square. That was the dot-com bubble in 2001. So that was the first square between the two planets. And then the Great Recession that started in 2008 was the opposition between the two planets. And then we're having the last square right now. So we're finishing up this whole cycle between Saturn and Uranus.
Okay, what a big mess. Okay, wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Thank you for adding that part there, Julie. Okay, let's get into the next slide here. People are hungry for all of this information. What are we looking at this one here?
This is our remote viewer, Edward Reardon, also blind on the same target. And he says, is it all markets? Something's going on, including gold and silver. And he says, gold and silver are being bought. Physical, tangible holdings are being secured. Could this be election outcome related? He says, November. This is a major month. Things are popping off. Helicopters in the air and it's nighttime. So he says November will be a big month for silver.
Absolutely. Let's look at the November eclipse, November 8th, Julie, and why this could tie in here. Go ahead.
So eclipses always come in pairs. So the first one is going to be on October 25th, and the second one to complete the pair will be November 8th. Such an interesting date, right? So this one is going to be in the sign of Taurus, which is a sign of finances, currencies, with Uranus. So it talks about a drastic change. Also, Uranus can be the planet associated with revolt. Is that the word?
Yeah.
So people are trying to rise up to bring some change, trying to contest. So that might be what's going on at the Pentagon. So I'm not sure, but Uranus is always like the maverick, the bringer of change. It could be riots. It could be people really fighting for change. And it has to do also with the financial axis.
Okay. Is that it? Okay, there's somebody saying, hey, it's November 5. No. Let me just bring it up. Hold on a second here. And somebody was saying, I have to bring this comment back up, and I really appreciate it because we are jumping through the hoops here tonight, trying to make this all work for you guys. But I had this start comment. Where did you go? Start comment. This one here. I appreciate it. Julie, JC, and Dick, your dance with the unexpected and your resilience is impressive. Love you. Thank you. Okay, I love you right back because, yes, this is a hard show. It's always hard when you're live to do a nice show, but it's even harder when you have technical issues right at the offset. It kind of messes up all of our energy fields, and we're doing our best to recenter here, guys.
You always do a really good job bringing up graphics and windows, and it's difficult to be the talent and just do interviews with two people, but to direct it at the same time, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I so much apologize that my, you know what I think I did? When I plugged my headphones in, I probably bumped the input to my good microphone.
Oh, that could be it too.
Ah.
Oh,
That
okay.
was my fault.
Hey, our friend Big
Awesome.
Swear is in the chat. Pay me my silver now. Yes. And it was funny. Somebody, Bix, you're going to laugh at this, but we were in the show, I think, with Jay Widener last week. And somebody in the chat said, "Oh my God, Dick Algeier just had a remote viewing on silver and it's going to make Big Swear really, really effing happy." So I'm like, really? What just happened? So I had to go look. And here we are tonight.
Bix was the first one I sent that to. I said, Bix, you're going to want to see that. And I sent him these slides. Said,
okay, very cool. Let's get to the next slide
buddy.
here. This one was interesting also to me. Dick, go ahead. What are we looking at here?
I saw this crisis, like, the motorcade is running at night. Like, some people are going to a meeting in Washington. Like, I didn't think it was Congress because I felt Congress was in recess at the time. But there's going to be like briefings and meetings. And then there's another slide that kind of goes with this. I don't know if I gave it to you, but I said events are precipitated by events in Europe. I said there's going to be something happening in Europe that cascades, and then it will cause emergency meetings. And right after we published this, the pound crashed. You know that currencies across the world are failing.
Mm-hmm.
Your Canadian dollar, Jean-Claude, if you came to United States right now, it would cost you $1.38 for every dollar you spend.
Yeah. And speaking of what's happening across the pond, we've been tracking this also in the last Crypto Woo, this whole idea of Credit Suisse and all the credit default swap cascading issues. And when Janine pulled cards on this too, she was surprised. She picked the worst 3 decks in the tarot card, seeing as something was directly related to the North American banking system with this too, and it's kind of hidden from us right now, but it will all come out here as this starts to unfold. So fascinating you bring that up, Dick. Let's bring up the next slide you had here. So you had the motorcade at night, presumably people meeting here for emergency meetings. What's this one here?
I just saw it. Oh, and Daz had the handshake too. I said there's a handshake across the table. There's an agreement. There's some deal. You know, speaking of Bix, who's in the audience, one of the first things I talked about with Bix when I met him 5 years ago, and he has always said, we bailed out the banks in 2008. The system crashed, and we bailed them out. He says, it's going to happen worse, and we're not going to bail them out. So when we see the next Credit Suisse, Deutsche Bank going the way of Lehman Brothers, we may not, they say they're too big to fail, but at some point they're going to let it fail. That's going to be the switch over to the new system. So, and I think it's all agreed upon and acknowledged, and they'll let it happen when they're ready to let it happen.
And that ties into a lot of the research here that Bix is doing on the roadtoruta.com, of course, referring also to the Road to Ruta comic book from the Fed. And so go check it out. And we'll have Bix back on the line here. He was on with Julie 2 weeks ago, guys. If you haven't seen that episode, also fascinating stuff. I think next week we have Will Lair coming on the show. I believe it's on Thursday of next week. Let me see if I can find it. Yes, Find Your Exit Now with Will Lair. And Bix, if you're available, you can join us for that. I'd love to have you on in a 3-way chat here with Will next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern. But folks, please join us for that. That's going to be a really interesting show as well. I know we have a special guest coming on the screen here tonight also to talk to us about what's happening in the silver market. That'll be in a few minutes from now, so hold on for that. But next slide, Dick, let me get to this one here. What is this one all about here? Now we're talking about maybe this deja vu of 2008 here, trying to rectify the system here.
Yeah.
Hours of the night. Go ahead.
I saw the big room meeting, and then this was the smaller room meeting, oddly shaped table. And there's a working group, like the term open market committee. This was just a sense that economic crisis and people that run the system trying to react to it and manage it as best they can.
Okay, very good.
It. So,
what's interesting, Bix was saying, yeah, Blythe Masters is on the board of Credit Suisse. Imagine that. She's purist? No, never did anything wrong. No, of course not.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't know that.
Neither did I. Thank you, Bix, for that piece. Going back here to who was doing this one here?
That was mine. That was the first sketch. I made a better one, but I said the silver and gold, and they become worth more, but become difficult to trade. I said silver gets a lot of attention.
And let me ask you a question here also, because we've talked about this before, and Bix talked about this also on our show. It's possible that at a certain point here in the breakage of this whole scenario, and considering all the how do you say that? The unintended consequences of maybe some of these things breaking in the background, we could get to a point where we don't know the price of silver, and therefore we can't trade it. There's no LBMA, there's no COMEX, there's no price discovery mechanism other than what you and I agree on the street. But to move it in bulk, we might have issues doing that. Is that what you're seeing here? An event like that, or more a government decree where it says you're not allowed to trade it because this is too dangerous to our economic system, or is it both?
Yeah, it was like that. My sense of it was, it goes up in value so much that those in charge say, inflation's not that bad. It's this silver and gold causing it. So we need to put restrictions on the price controls on silver, or some new executive order or some new regulation where they try to discourage the use of silver.
You wrote your confiscation.
That's where I said right here. I get the idea that it will become more valuable, but feel some restrictions are difficult using the coins. Great for black market and barter, but risk of restrictions and even confiscation, but that would be farther out, not in the near term.
Okay.
When silver and gold pop, they will be labeled inflationary and disruptive and restricted to maintain order and stability. So
Go ahead, Dick. Go ahead.
Well, it's interesting to read this data because it's not really me saying that. It's like that's what I got in the session. So I read that. I go, oh, I wrote that. Oh, okay. That's what the data was telling me.
Right. I had John Williams from Shadow Stats on a couple of months ago. I think Andy Scheckman was on the same interview with me. And John was saying at some point in the near future here, when all this breaks loose, he said the governments around the world were going to put in all of these types of schemes to try to get your silver from you. And he said, what did he say? He said something, over my dead body, don't give them your silver. Just wait here, because the prices you think are high, when that happens and when the government tries to restrict it, it's nothing compared to where it's ultimately going. What are your thoughts on that, Dick?
Well, they're already starting to do that with cash. In the UK, aren't they calling in the 20-pound, 50-pound notes? You can't use them, the one with the Queen.
Yeah, but they're transferring that to the new polymer system. So they're removing some of the old paper ones to introduce this new polymer, similar to what we did here in Canada about 10 years ago.
There was some talk on the stream that I just did that we were speculating that what they're ultimately going to do is pull the cash out of circulation and say, okay, you're going to get credit for that.
It could very well be that they're using this,
and then we'll give you the new digital central bank digital currency. Like they may try to pull a fast one like that.
Right. Julie, how does that tie in also? Because you had mentioned this idea of no more paper or no more banking system, trying to force us into new systems. Which slide do you want me to bring up here in context with that?
Well, I'm just going to talk about the square again, not to be very original, but it makes a lot of sense what Dick was saying, because the square between Saturn and Uranus talks about Saturn brings restrictions. So it's the powers that be, or the powers that were, trying to keep their grasp on what they had. So they're trying to get control, and Uranus on his end wants to decentralize. But since it's a square, it's a very high tension aspect between the two archetypes. So it's not going to be easily one or the other. It's going to be a fight. So yes, we're having, let's say, silver and gold increasing value, but Saturn's still trying to get its pull on the use of silver and gold too. And usually what Saturn does in this type of situation is to bring new rules, and also applies to cryptos. So they are still going to create more rules to make it more difficult for people to get the money out of the bank and into decentralized assets. So crypto, but also silver, but also gold. So it makes a lot of sense.
So these effers, or I won't even say it here on YouTube, are not going down without a fight, and they're going to be trying as best they can here to pull us back into their systems of control. And this is the point here: gold, silver, and crypto, for the most part, are outside their system of control. They don't want us there. They want us into these CBDCs that they want to introduce here. Okay.
The good news here is that the North Node is with Uranus. So our future is with decentralized assets. So that's what we're moving forward this time around, not like 1929. So that's a difference.
Okay, very good. Well, with us, let's do this. I have a couple more slides for you, Dick, but we'll take a quick pause on that. We'll bring in our special guest here. You can find him, of course, at milesfranklin.com. It is no other than the CEO himself, Mr. Andy Sheckman. Andy, welcome up to the show. How are you?
Good to see you, JC. Good to see everybody. Dick, it's been a long time. Yeah. How's everyone doing tonight?
Hey, Andy.
We're doing well, Andy. Thank you so much for being on. I wanted to have you on the show here tonight because we're pulling together the latest remote viewings from the folks here at Crypto Viewing as it pertains to perhaps changes here in gold and silver specifically. That's the context of the show here tonight. And I also saw one of your latest show with Chris Marcus here where you were explaining some of the tightness here in the silver market. Can you share that with the audience here? What's happening right now and how does that tie in with this conversation here, not just from the remote viewing and from the astrology, but what you're seeing physically on the ground right now and also in inventory? Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever seen an environment quite like this, you guys. In all the years that I've done this, I continually am receiving emails from large distributors across the United States. And one of the biggest global distributors today, maybe the fourth or fifth update to the inventory that I received was incredibly shocking. And it said exactly the following, that we are 100% sold out of all silver with the exception of silver shot, some 1,000-ounce bars, some straggling amount of silver Britannias, and that's it. Now, this is from one of the largest distributors in the world that you're talking billions of dollars worth of metals that they sell every year. And I've been saying this, you guys, for a long time, and I get a lot of crap for it. I really do. I get a lot of crap from people saying, oh, the dude's just talking his book. I've been saying for 2 years that this is a market that will be defined by an inability to source product as more and more people from the mainstream have woken up, still only representing the pimple on the elephant's ass. When the elephant comes through the door, it's all gone. And I'm telling you, it has been incredibly challenging to continue to get product coming in the door. You have the US Mint, which is the model of inefficiency. You have the UK, where you can't find any silver Britannias really without paying a fortune because the queen died and they're impossible to get. You got the Krugerrand, the Kangaroo, and the Philharmonic, and they have all risen in premium. They're all not getting any type of delivery notification from any of the distributors into maybe December or into January, most of what you're telling you into 2023. I've never seen anything like this ever in all the years that I've done this, with the exception of 2008 when everything just disappeared. Everything disappeared all at once. And this is very reminiscent of it. I don't think people are quite getting it. And I will simply tell you that it used to be the biggest challenge I faced as a precious metals company was getting clients. Now the biggest problem is getting product, and it's real. It's 100% for real.
Andy, also to bring a little bit more context here, of course, we're looking at it from the woo perspective, the remote viewers, the psychics, and all this stuff. But something's happening also on the silver market where the inventories have been dropping like a ton of bricks here in the last couple of months, where the big players are just taking it off the table. Explain that to the audience and how it's absolutely game-changing right now to see these inventories drop so fast, and explain perhaps why somebody is forecasting this maybe a year back already, even before some of these remote viewers and forecasters. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, well, and I'm glad you asked that question because in 2020 I talked a lot about a group called the Others. I made a really big deal about it on all the podcasts I did for the whole year of 2020 and most of 2021. And what it pertains to is the Commitment of Traders report that we see published every week by the commodity exchange called the COMEX. And the Commitment of Traders report typically shows the positioning of two groups of traders. Its mission is to show the positioning of the largest traders on the commodity exchange, and it's always the commercial banks here and the hedge funds called the specs here. And the specs are the hedge funds and the managed money. And if the managed money and the hedge funds go long, the commercial banks go short and vice versa. And it would show the positioning of just the very largest traders. And then out of nowhere in 2020, we see a third group of reportables show up on the Commitment of Traders report. It's called the Others. And they are largely believed to be family offices and sovereign wealth funds. And as an example, in 2020, they took more silver off of the exchange in deliveries. Now, remember, you can take deliveries off the COMEX. Most people never did. Maybe 1% of all contracts ever issued stood for delivery until 2020, when more silver was taken off the exchange than we would typically see in a 10-year period. Now, this has continued, and they've made it a little bit more difficult by doing what's called exchange for physical, which makes it more difficult to track. But and that, just to clarify, the exchange for physical is you take a contract on COMEX and you send it to London and take delivery there. Between the drawdowns off the LME, the London Metals Exchange, which right now have silver inventories at the lowest level ever since they started keeping records, or the drawdowns and deliveries off of COMEX, where you see the silver inventories in the registered category, those bars that are available for delivery at the lowest level I ever remember seeing, or 100 million ounces backdoored out of SLV over the past 4 months. You're seeing the biggest money in the world take silver off from the very tip top of the pyramid. They're taking it off, and then as it trickles on down, those are the bars that are being taken off that are typically used to make 1-ounce planchets or blanks to give to the mints to make coins. And
Right.
so I guess I would simply say this, that in all the years I've done this, one thing has become very obvious to me, very evident in finance, and that is that the biggest money in the world, who not only has the money, but is also, probably because of that money and that influence and that power, they are closest to the information spigot. These are the folks that are making moves before anyone else even gets it, before anyone else thinks, well, why the hell would they be draining silver and gold off of COMEX when the price has been going down? Because that's exactly why. It's misdirection. It's the no-look pass. They suppress the paper price and drain all of the physical while everyone else is busy looking at other things. And they are repositioning or positioning themselves in a manner that when people finally wake up, when that moment happens, when silver will express itself, when gold will express itself in the face of a declining or collapsing dollar, the big money, the smart money, the really big money who quietly has repositioned is already sitting on the deck chair with a beer in hand when everyone else is scurrying for scraps. And if you look at how it is playing out, started with drawdowns off the exchanges, backdooring metal by the authorized participants off the ETFs, and now you're seeing it disappear in the physical market in a fashion that really we have really never seen, other than one time in '08, and it happened differently in '08. I'll just simply say this has been an ongoing process really since mid 2020. You can blame it on whatever you want, but I'll simply tell you it's for real. It's as real as anything I've ever seen. And I have my brokers calling me, our business is off the charts. We've done more business this year than I could have ever imagined. And my brokers are like, well, we're concerned. We're concerned about not getting clients, but about product. What are we going to do to keep getting product in? And I got guys working 24 hours a day, literally, buying from Europe in the middle of the night, buying from the US and Canada, and every single coin shop across the United States that we've made relationships with over 33 years, every refiner in across the globe. It is a full-time job for four that I have that are scouring the globe. And thank God we have a deep network that we have cultivated over 33 years in business, to where we have a better supply chain than most of the companies that have been around for a third as long as we have. And they're all very reputable. They just don't know the people we do. And fortunately, we still have product, but I will tell you, honest to God, it has never been more difficult. I'm a US Mint authorized representative. And in the the 33 years that I've done this, silver eagles have never cost me ever more than $4, $5, $6 over the price of silver. My cost on them right now is north of $15. When you talk about gold eagles, my cost on gold eagles is north of 10% over the price of gold.
Right.
So before I make a penny, the
Yeah.
products are disappearing, and it's real. And I think
Wow.
it's a big deal.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Andy. I want to bring Dick on. Oh, go ahead, Dick. Go ahead.
I want to offer another data point and get Andy's opinion on this. One of the things we do at Crypto Viewing is really good technical analysis with Marty Hibbs. He's a Canadian. You should have Marty on with you.
Dick, you must be psychic. I was just about to ask you how you guys were front running all of this with Marty on your cryptoviewing.com there. So go ahead.
So this is not woo-woo. I've been doing the technical analysis segment with Marty for 2.5 years now. And one of the things that he follows is the dollar index, stock market, gold and silver. And he has called the movement of the dollar exactly right for 2.5 years. His skills as a technical analyst are unsurpassed. So what we notice is that when the dollar is strong, it suppresses the price of silver and gold. And when the dollar dips, silver and gold go up. What Marty sees happening today, the US dollar index is 112. It's really strong against the other currency. Marty feels that we needed to check back. It's checking back now, but he sees sometime before the end of the year what he calls a blow off top, where you could see the dollar go up to 130, 140, and then he thinks that will be the end. So my point to you, Andy, is, and we do business with you, we're big Andy Scheckman, Miles Franklin people. There may be your best time to get some silver when the dollar hits that 130. That's the time. That may be your last opportunity to buy silver at a somewhat decent price, because when the dollar fails, then silver's off to the races.
Yeah, the only problem with that, Dick, and I talk with Marty about this frequently, is that when we see the price in dollar terms collapse, everyone and their mother is trying to bargain hunt, and we already see frailty within the supply chain. So as the price falls in the face of a rising dollar, when it's reaching all-time highs in gold across the globe, I mean, gold's at all-time highs in the United Kingdom. It's just here against the strong dollar. It is illusionary. I think that from a logical perspective, what you say makes sense, but I also think from a practical standpoint, there are holes in it in the respect that getting product as the prices. I'll give you an example. 2020, when the price of silver went to $11.50, you couldn't find any coins anywhere in the United States for under $20, and you would wait 6 weeks to get it. And so it presented a problem where the falling price was met with rising premiums, at least commensurate, and the delivery delays were atrocious. So I don't know. I think that I don't dispute what you're saying. I think it's amazing that the dollar is as strong as it is, while at the same time its relative strength at home is collapsing. But from what you're saying in terms of its relationship with gold and silver, if we saw that, yeah, you would expect to see a good bargain price. I just hope we could get you the product at that point.
The bottom line is, if the physical inventory isn't there, the charts don't matter.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Following the paper market anyway. It doesn't represent the physical delivery.
Well, and that's exactly right. And when you talk about the amount of paper out there that is dwarfing the amount of physical, you have a paper price, the tail wagging the dog, that is not indicative of physical demand. As the price has fallen over the last, since March 8th, the price has fallen. But at the same time, the total commercial net short position has also declined by more than 230,000 contracts, or 23 million ounces. So the commercial banks have, I believe, set a bear trap for the hedge funds. They've rigged the price lower. And the hedge funds have shorted the price of gold and silver tremendously. And the benefactor of that are the commercial banks, who not only have taken those short positions on the other side and taken the long side of it, but has given them the ability to not only reduced dramatically their short position, which is the smallest concentrated short position in history of COMEX. They're positioning as if the price is going to move higher. So this is all a bunch of misdirection and illusion in the respect that the commercial banks are sitting in a position to reap much higher prices. And as the price has fallen, you've seen the smartest money in the world not only go long, but also take off copious amounts of physical supply off of all the world's exchanges.
Right.
So everything is upside down right now. And I think you have to look at gold and silver and look at the long game. The biggest mistake you can make, I believe, is to watch the charts every single day. You get a good position of it, you put it away, and put your head between your legs, because it's going to get bumpy, I think. And I've talked a lot about the things that I see happening or emanating from the BRICS nations. They are all joining together more and more and more and more every day. It is happening. The alliance is being built between the BRICS nations and the Belt Road Initiative, and all of the countries signing on to it, including Egypt, including Saudi Arabia, the linchpin of the dollar hegemony. All of the OPEC countries are on the Belt Road Initiative. Russia and all of the countries striking unilateral deals. Saudi Arabia just striking a deal with India to do oil transfers in rupee. All of these deals that are being struck, and in particular the BRICS nations, represent close to 85% of human population. They're all moving against the West. And I think the real problem happens when OPEC and Saudi Arabia say, hey, thanks for the memories, folks. We've decided to join the BRICS nations. All of our OPEC brothers and sisters are already on the Belt Road Initiative. And you guys are all going green anyway in the West, so you won't miss us. Don't worry about it. We're going to sell oil in other currencies to our friends in the BRICS nations that represent most of the population of the planet, because they're not going green. And we're going to open up oil purchases to rupee and to ruble and to yuan and to euro, gold, and dollars too. And like that, it's over when all of these countries, since 1974, every country on the planet has had to stockpile dollars to buy oil from OPEC. Right. If OPEC says we've had it, because you're destroying your currency, we don't like the way that you're doing things, we don't want your sanctions, we don't want to be the next one that is frozen out of SWIFT. So you know what? We're all joining together in the BRICS nations, and you don't have to hold dollars to buy oil anymore. And if you think that inflation is bad now, wait and see what happens when the majority of the world dumps dollars. Those dollars hit our shore, and the dollar collapses as interest rates spike to the moon in the face of massive inflation. It's a religious experience very quickly as stocks, bonds, and real estate collapse. This is the problem. People are too focused on the price and on what the Fed is doing. The Fed is a bunch of liars. They've been lying to us all along. They're not telling us the truth now. And I really do believe that Biden went to Saudi Arabia not to beg them to pump more oil when they just embarrassed him on the world stage yesterday by saying we're going to actually decrease production by 2 million a day. He went there to beg them not to join BRICS, because if that happens, which they've already expressed their intent to do, and they no longer say you have to own dollars through OPEC, because we're being protected by Russia and China and the rest of our BRICS brothers and sisters, it's game over. This is why you buy gold and silver now before something awful like this happens. I am dead serious. It has nothing to do with the Fed. The Fed's a sideshow.
And to some extent, I would argue it's already happening. Just the other day, Russia announced that they would allow international trade in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And on top of that, they're getting together here to challenge the LBMA and to start their own price discovery mechanism for gold and silver. And of course, they have already pegged the ruble to gold here for the energy exports. So the beginning of the end is here in all of that. Yes. So thank you so much, Andy. I really appreciate that. There was a question on the screen, Andy. Michelin was asking, hey, I ordered the BeyondMystic silver bars using the special form, but I didn't get an answer. I know you just mentioned here, you guys are working 24 hours a day. Michelin, maybe resend the form, copy me on it. I'll make sure Andy and his team gets it.
You send that one to me, JC, and I'll take care of it personally.
Will do for sure. And Andy, what's up here? These are the new specials here for this week. You have the Silver Buffalo. A lot of people were still looking for those Britannias. What's happening with the silver supply, and what can you guarantee for the folks here if they contact you today to get some physical silver in their own possession?
Yeah, the silver Britannias became stupid because the queen died and the premiums went to the moon. And what the few that are available are stupid price. You got the Buffalo rounds, you got 10 ounce and kilo and 100-ounce bars, which to me are a far better value right now than the sovereign mint coins. Look, I'm one of only 27 U.S. Mint authorized distributors or resellers in the world. And the U.S. Mint in many ways has shaped my career. I owe them a debt of gratitude, but they have been pathetic. and getting product out. For whatever reason, you can say it's because the Treasury is not allowed, or the Treasury is not allowed to pay more money than the average price, worldwide price of silver, and other mints are around the world. I don't care what the reason is. When you're paying $16+ premiums for Silver Eagle, something's screwed up. And so in terms of supply, all of the coins are getting hard to get. All of the coins have rising premiums. Yes, I have Philharmonics and I have some Krugerrands, I have some Maple Leafs, but they'll be at $5, $6, $7 an ounce over the price of silver. Probably about half that premium you'll find in silver bars, which to me are a better buy. But like I said, we are working tirelessly to continue to get product in the door. And for your clients and for Dick's clients, I promise you, I will do everything I can, not only to get them into product, but also at the best price in North America. And I've been telling everyone our new website's almost done, and it has been nothing but a series of setbacks and aggravations. We're really close, really close. And they wanted to release it and open it up here recently, and I found all sorts of problems. I said, no, we're going to do it the right way. So we're getting close. In the meantime, continue, please, to send us emails at info@milesfranklin and tell us what you're looking for. We'll send you an inventory. We'll answer your questions. And I think in terms of silver, we have the best price in North America. And especially for your clients, we're going to give them everything we can to make sure not only do we give them the best price, but a good experience. That I can promise you out of great appreciation to you both.
Thank you so much, Andy and folks. You can do that here at beyondmystic.net/silver. You can get also here the Beyond Mystic silver bars. There's the special order form on the top here. And of course, if you're on the Canadian side of the viewership, also you can click this link. It'll bring you to the mfbullion.ca website, where we just changed the specials here time before going on the show. We have these 10-ounce silver bars at $5.95 over spot Canadian prices. Of course, delivered directly to you from Canada, in Canada, without the exchange rate. So you save a lot here as opposed to buying overseas. Again, at beyondmystic.net/silver. Andy, thank you so much. I know you're absolutely busy. Thank you for coming on for this short segment, explaining to people here what's happening in the silver market. You guys are the best. And I hope to have you on next week with Bill Holter for a follow-up show to our last one. I'll send you an email later tonight to try to get that back.
You never need to ask me twice. I love you, JC and Julie and Dick. You guys stay well, and I do hope to see you all again real soon. Thanks for having me, JC.
Sounds good. Have a good night. Have a good night, Andy. We'll see you soon. All right. Man, this has to be the worst show for me, technically speaking. I've had a lot of issues, and at the same time I'm live, I'm getting my tech support saying that there's something wrong with my internet bandwidth, and they're asking me questions as I'm live. I'm like, guys, you don't realize I've got 20 screens here and I can't answer technical questions.
Oh, wow.
So anyways, we're back on.
Julie has to say about that one. I think you have one more slide, right?
Oh, did I?
Did you? Oh, yes, you do have one. Hold on a second here. The Pentagon's chart. Did you want to get into that?
Well, let's hear what Dick has to say. I think he has one more. Is that what you were trying to say?
There was one more slide that I was doing November event, or
this one here?
events, and I said for the economic, this is my take on what we're expecting economic. Bolt a handle to the wall, wear diapers, hold on tight, have your buy orders in, know it will get better for cryptos, and change your diapers. So that was my little cartoon on what we're looking at. We all know something big is coming.
Yeah.
Astrologically, right? It's in the cards. It's in your tarot cards. It's in your numerology. It's in the astrology. We can feel it.
Yeah, very cool. Dick, before I let you go, you sent me also this. This was really interesting. Let me get to your slide first, and then we'll look at some news items here that might be validating this other remote viewing. And I want to share with the audience here your work on patreon.com/crypto viewing. But what is this one about? Share this with the audience.
That one was just brought to my attention on my live stream at crypto viewing earlier today in what month? July or August. We were given a target that was global cyber attack near future. And I said, there's going to be a submarine lost, a big submarine, the big boomer kind. And that's going to be a precipitating event. And someone just told me that there is a Russian submarine that is missing or has left port. And yeah, there is a submarine in the news. So
interesting.
we're looking for a global cyber attack. That would be bad.
And actually, it's also in a lot of forecasts. Cliff High also had this where we would have maybe a couple of days without internet or communications. It's still in the cards. We did see some predictive programming of this in the mainstream news also in the last 6 months. Julie, I wanted to bring you back on. Did you want to talk about that Pentagon slide here and how that might tie with
we can.
what happened for the Aries full moon? It ties in also to these weird meetings happening, maybe some difficulties here around October 9th. Let me bring that up for you as well. Go ahead.
I looked at the birth chart of the Pentagon, and I was looking since we received Dick's remote viewing drawings, and I was kind of wondering what would happen to the Pentagon with the current astrological events. So I checked the second eclipse that's going to be on November 8th. And what I found was interesting is that the eclipse is going to hit Pentagon's natal Sun and Mercury in the sign of Taurus. So they're going to be surely implicated and affected by the eclipse in some kind of way. And the eclipse is in the financial axis. So the financial change will impact the Pentagon, and the Sun in a company or an association, I don't know how we can call this entity, but is first of all the mission of the entity, but also Mercury represents a change in administration. So an eclipse could be a drastic change in who's driving the Pentagon as of its administration, which is Mercury, but also change in mission, which is the Sun. So we're going to have Uranus conjunct this eclipse. So Uranus talks about a drastic change. It could be also people taking over the power of its administration. Uranus talk about revolution. And it's going to be a lunar eclipse. So the ancients used to say that a woman public figure could be eclipsed during a lunar eclipse. So we could see maybe a public woman exiting the Pentagon around this eclipse. Also, we've got Mercury in the equation, so it could be someone that's related to public relations or administration. And it's going to all happen in the Pentagon's 11th house. So it rules how it's going to impact society as a whole, which is the 11th house. It's going to probably affect a lot of people because it's 11th house rules large groups of people, large events. And again, the moon represents people wanting drastic change, which is going to be conjunct with Uranus, the planet of change and rebellion. So I think it's going to be probably an important event happening around the Pentagon.
It very much sounds like go time. Dick, I'm going to come back to you at the end here for your last words of wisdoms, and also to pimp and to explain to people how amazing all of this information is and how they can find that on your Patreons. I'll get back to you in a sec. Julie, all these astrological alignments, of course, have a big impact on us personally and collectively. What do you have for people here who are trying to maybe get a better handle on how their astrology is going to affect them so that they can better run the wave here of these big changes that are before them? What do you have for them here on MaisonJupiter.com?
Yeah, so we have the personalized birth chart, which is a digital poster representing the exact placement of the planets at the moment of your birth. So you can choose the color of your choice. And it's very much a piece of reference for all the astrological alignments that are happening in the world. So you can really look up all the eclipses and what house do they fall for you specifically, because they're going to influence you in a different way in your personal life, depending on what house and falls for you. And you can follow up also with the Astro Woo. We do monthly reports and we explain how all the collective energy can influence you on a personal scale. And yes, there's a 10% discount with BeyondMystic in one word.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much, Julie, for that. And yes, guys, please do go check out the Astro Woo Finance for October, as well as the Crypto Woo if you're interested at tracking some of these most popular cryptocurrencies here that our audience is tracking with us here on BeyondMystic.net. Now, Dick, before we go tonight, again, a big thank you for sharing all this for us tonight and putting all of this in context. There's a lot of anxiety in the air in the last 2 weeks. You and I and all our guests have been fielding a lot of emails. People feel the tension right now, and the herd is being spooked, so to speak. Andy said something that was important earlier. He said that the big money, because of their influence, they're close to that information spigot, as he called them. And this is what you are trying to do also, not just from the technical analysis standpoint with Marty, but also by trying to garner this remote information field and bringing that forward for your audience members. So explain to them here what you have in terms of the packages at patreon.com/crypto viewing.
What we do at Crypto Viewing is we provide information that helps you make decisions to navigate the new system. We are undergoing a transformation to a new financial system and a new system of administration of humanity. You're not really going to be able to change or influence it too much. What you're going to be able to do is navigate it, find a way to survive and thrive and hopefully live a better life. So we give you information. It's patreon.com/crypto viewing. We have a really good source that gives us amazing interviews. We do remote viewing on cryptos, remote viewing on woo-woo events and current events. So I would say the best thing to do is buy the medium package that's like $29 or something, and then just go look for a whole month. As we leave, I have two things to tell Julie.
Okay.
One, it was told to me that when you are aligned properly with the stars to do something successfully, you are in ASTR, a star.
Mm.
When you are not aligned properly, you are in disaster, and disaster, and that's literally the language is a spell, and that's correct. And the last thing is, when you brought up the card, this just occurred to me that my soul mission was the lover. My mother, who was very psychic, always said when I was a little boy, she said, "Dickie is a lover, not a fighter."
Oh, I love that. We need more people like you, for sure.
You guys are going to make me cry. Absolutely. That's amazing. My mom kind of told me the same thing. I also have this card. So I was like, oh, wow. You just threw me off my game there, Dick. Wow. Thank you so much, both of you, for being on.
Program. JC, really good to meet you. Thank you for the reading.
Yeah.
Really good show, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sorry we're out of time. We had all of these technical issues at the beginning of the show. Hopefully we're able to salvage it for you guys and give you all the information you deserve and we're requesting from us. Please do leave a comment below. Let us know how we did. And if there's more information like this that you want us to cover here in the next couple of days and weeks, we shall endeavor to do so. And in the meantime, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and go visit our friends here at patreon.com/crypto viewing, and also Julie here on Maison Jupiter on the web. And finally, you can come and subscribe here if you haven't done so already on BeyondMystic.net, where next week I'll have Will there back on the show for an exciting episode, as well as Jay Weidner is coming back for part 2 of the Nostradamus, the Vortex of Time series that we've just started here with Julie. Absolutely fabulous concept. And of course, you can come and join Julie and her amazing sister Sophie for the Tarot Astro amazing woo shows here at the Divine Feminine Oracles series. I love you guys. Have a great evening. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon. Au revoir.
Au revoir. Bye, everybody.